Prime Minister continues to face questions about his phone call with the New South Wales Police Commissioner regarding the Angus Taylor investigation.
But Mick Fuller has dismissed concerns of political interference, promising an open and transparent investigation. Live now to our political reporter Trudy McIntosh. Trudy, it comes as the Prime Minister is forced to clarify comments he made in the House yesterday.
That's right, Laura. Scott Morrison making this clarification. He was speaking about a police investigation and the former Prime Minister Julia Gillard. It was part of Question Time yesterday. He was facing a barrage of attacks from Labor when it came to an investigation into one of his own ministers, Angus Taylor. The Prime Minister told the House that that Julia Gillard, there was a Victorian policeman quoting about an investigation into Julia Gillard, when in fact the quote that he was referencing was from 2GB broadcaster Ben Fordham. So Labor quick to jump on that, and they wanted the Prime Minister to clarify this. It was done instead via a statement from the Attorney-General delivered to the House because the Prime Minister was in Sydney last night. He's still facing a lot of questions, though, about that phone call with the New South Wales Police Commissioner, Mick Fuller. Mick Fuller says it was a pretty simple conversation.
And as a result of the phone call from the Prime Minister, the investigation continues, and New South Wales Police has acted openly and ethically in relation to our activities, which is entirely appropriate. The Prime Minister didn't ask me any questions that were inappropriate. He didn't ask for anything that was inappropriate, and I'm comfortable with the discussion that we had that ran over a few minutes.
Mick Fuller says he expects this investigation into the Angus Taylor documents debacle to be wrapped up by next week.
And Trudy, the government rejects Jackie Lambie's last-minute requests on the so-called union busting bill.
That's right. So the government appears now to be very happy that it's going to get the support of One Nation and Centre Alliance when it comes to this union-busting bill. We've now found out they've rejected these series of amendments that Jackie Lambie was after when it comes to changing the threshold around what would see a union disqualified. We also see a little bit more, though, from One Nation last night in the Senate. They haven't completely said they'll back this in, but it seems likely now that that's the case.
Members of all unions should know that I've made these amendments with the support of Senator Roberts and your union representatives. The intent of these changes is to further protect Australian workers and minimise the risk of deregistration over paperwork and misdemeanours and alike.
And just on that Medivac repeal that the government's been pushing for, yesterday Jackie Lambie revealed that she'd be willing to vote with that if they gave her one key demand, which she hasn't laid out. But this morning we see in the 9 newspapers that Jackie Lambie, it's reported, was asking the government for a third-party resettlement deal for asylum seekers to a place like New Zealand. So it'll be interesting to see if the government is willing to agree to that demand from Jackie Lambie.
Jackie Lambie says she is open to supporting the government's push to repeal Medivac if her demands are met. The key crossbench senator has given the government a single condition on which she would support repealing the legislation, which the coalition wants to pass through the Senate before Christmas. In a statement, Senator Lambie says, "The condition I have put to the government is a sensible and reasonable proposition that I have arrived at through extensive consultation. I am of the firm and conclusive view that the continuing operation of the Medivac provisions cannot be disrupted without this condition being met. I will not entertain any alternative." Jackie Lambie won't outline specifically what that condition is because she says it's related to national security.